The Maroon White Pod brought to you by Citylink. For bookings, timetables, updates and any other information, head to citylink.ie. So delighted now in part one of the show to be joined by Annaghdown senior football manager Norman O'Brien. Annaghdown have had a remarkable season with the bodies they've lost, and they've now find themselves in the quarter-final. They've advanced to the quarter-final along with Kerfin, Sawhill and Moycullen. Norman, first of all, you've made the move this year from Kilconnelly up to Annaghdown. You enjoying your time in Annaghdown so far?
I am very much so, Paul. Yeah, it's a big job, obviously. I wasn't actually going to do anything after the course or the Cunningham job. The last game, I was taking a break, and I thought I was taking a break for a year. And then when the Annaghdown job came along, and the chance to work with them lads, it was hard to turn it down. So myself and Stephen decided we'd take it up, along with Jamie, our assistant coach, who the three of us, and it moved along to Annaghdown, and we settled in okay so far. So good. It's early days yet, though.
Just with that, I presume you didn't plan with the bodies that Annaghdown have lost this year. It's quite a number of players. What was like to deal with at the start when you came in?
We knew that going in, so that we also knew we had at least 45 other players. So that's kind of your job as coaches to put players that are there. We weren't putting that energy, and we still don't put any energy into people who are not there. All the energy kind of goes into people who are there, and the guys that take all the time and give all the time to it. So it's a two-way street. We give our time to them, and they give their time back in spades. So this few 45 on a list, you can't be talking about who you don't have. It's still a results-driven business. You can't be talking about who you don't have.
And just with that, you've came through the groups relatively well so far, but it's presented opportunities to the younger players, the Olin Kellys, even Rory Gleeson coming on, Stephen Curley, these players, and they've all taken their opportunity throughout the championship.
Yeah, these are very, very good players. I think they're all guys that are playing high-level schools football and high-level underage football so far for Galway, and go on to higher levels again. So this is just a stepping stone for these guys, but they're going the right direction, and they're very good. There's a good few lads there coming again after them, so there's a lot of good underage coming in and down there. They might be coming in pods of 2s and 3s. Some of them might come in pods of 5s and 6s. You don't have to be lighting up a championships, winning a championships. It's about bringing the players through to senior, and I think they've kind of got that concept now that it's about how many guys can each underage coach bring through. The more they bring through, the more they have been successful. You won't be judged on medals when you're bringing underage players through. You'll be judged on what standard you brought them in at, what level they came in at, how many of them you got through. That's what it's all about. You can sometimes win county titles with 3 or 4 really good young lads, but not actually develop the group at all, and that's not of any benefit to anyone. So I think that they've got that model kind of started now at the moment. So hopefully it'll springboard them over the next decade to try and keep that going, because only one team can win those underage titles every year, and doesn't mean everyone else is doing everything wrong.
Just on that as well, you went from intermediate to senior management. Was there a big difference for you, or have you noticed a difference between intermediate and senior football?
Not for me, because I've done it in Mayo. I was lucky enough to go from my own club, Clonberne, to where I live in Ballinrobe, from intermediate to senior. So I'd done that transition before. I spent 4 years at a really good Ballinrobe bunch of lads who, again, no more than I don't give their all at that stage. Just were a player or two maybe short of that in that moment, where they wouldn't have the numbers on the down have. But they were a really good group of lads. So I'd been used to that transition myself, even from playing yourself. You'd know the difference in the standards. There is differences, but the players obviously adapt to the different standards. That's why all those club competitions, junior, senior and intermediate, are really good, because everyone's kind of at their level.
Just on your fast start to the championship, Group 4, 3 wins over Clonberne, Miltown and Berna. What do you put your Annaghdown's start in the championship down to?
Some of it is luck. Being quite honest, Paul, because up to the night before the Berna game, that was the first night probably we had everyone back in a long time, between county players and lads travelling for the summer and that kind of stuff. So you'd been very nervous for the first game, knowing that you were playing a really good Barnet side who were ranked very low by a lot of people, and that riled them, because I know I talked to them afterwards. They put everything into that. They threw the kitchen sink and more at us in that game, and we were delighted to come out 2 points winners out of that game. That, at no stage did we ever underestimate Barnet, because we watched them in the good few league games all year, had our homework well done on them, and we were delighted to come out the right side of that game, especially with such a new young team. So that kind of gave us a springboard for the group. And then, like, you're into a massive game against Miltown, who everybody knows how hard it is to beat Miltown. I thought I knew how hard it was to beat Miltown until we actually played Miltown, and then I realised I didn't know anything about how it was to beat Miltown until the game was over, because they kept coming back and coming back and coming back. So that was a really good education for me. And then obviously Cunningham, we knew they were they won another 19A title last year. Then had some really good footballers in a lot of key positions, a lot of county and ex-county footballers, both at underage and senior level. Kevin Welch in the coaching staff, like, they were always going to be well drilled. So, and then to lose Leamore early in that was another test. So it was really good to come through those 3 games, but it's only put us in a position to play knockout football. It's only guaranteed us 1 game less this week. It hasn't given us anything else other than that. So, and we know that, we're very aware of that. Like, it was a tough group to come through for a new young team starting off, but they found different ways to get through the different games, and each game was different, and each game did throw up different circumstances. But the one thing I really loved about the 3 games was the supporters, the Annaghdown people, the way they got behind the team. Especially in the Miltown game, you could hear the noise. You know, you wouldn't usually we hadn't had that before as coaches, to that level, where the people really got behind the team. And then in Salthill again the last day, when Demo went off and the lads started playing really good football, they got behind them again. So I think there's a real togetherness. You know, it's a traditional club that has won 5 senior county titles. The people know what they're talking about. Like, they know their football up there, and they don't suffer fools gladly. So they're a very straight talking place to people, Annaghdown people. There's nowhere to hide up there. So you're either doing the job and doing it right, or you're not doing it at all. And that suits us just perfect, because that's the way we like to work ourselves. But they're really, when they get behind the team, you can hear their supporters. Like, I had a lot of friends that actually at the game, they couldn't get over the volume of noise that the Annaghdown supporters can bring to a game. And that's huge for driving lads on, especially a young team like that. So hopefully, as long as everyone keeps working together, you would know where we could end up.
Just when you talk there about the players you've lost and even the players that have come in and take their chances, do you think it's helped in one sense that maybe this year compared to previous years, the expectation wasn't as high as it has been in previous years?
I can't really know that, because I've never worked with the other players. I know some of them were really good. My thing was always, I seen Annaghdown when the Michael Hughes and the Vinnie Smalls and these lads were winning county titles. Morgan Duggan, who would have gone to school, would have been a few years older than me. Like, they were winning senior titles when we were dreaming of playing senior with our own club. Like, it's Annaghdown has a huge tradition of, like, not many clubs in Galway have 5 senior titles. There's only a handful of clubs that have won that amount. So we would have known there's always going to be an expectancy when you take the job. You couldn't turn around at the end of the year and not leave the club back senior again. So that was our only aim, was to make sure that we left it back where we got it this year. And that's achieved, and that's all we've achieved so far. So we know that ourselves, we haven't achieved any more than that. And we've achieved the right to have another game. And I said it is a big step up again for the next bunch of games. So hopefully we'll have another crack at it again. And there's no pressure on us now either. We've taken the big thing was to, as you said there, Paul, with all the lads that were supposedly missing. And then we lost Sean Ford earlier in the year. He went to Boston working, which lads have to do nowadays. So every team has lost theirs. Like, there's no club probably outside of the Coruscant and the Salt Hills. They've lost theirs this year too, but they've all really good players in. But that's the difference here for every club.
And just for your own point of view, Norman, to get to work with players like Damien and Frankie, how's that been for you?
They're great lads to work with. Damien's just an absolute gent of a man, as a man, and then he's just a super footballer as a footballer, but as a person first, and the way he leads and acts around the group, it's just first class. Everything he does is first class. Frankie then is just another really class guy to work with. Like, he's probably the best tea maker in Annaghdown. And best sandwich maker. We'll have to see how he gets down with sandwiches. I don't really know how good he is at his tea making, but Frankie's the life and soul of it. He drives the whole thing. He has set the standards. He's been there longer than everyone else, but he's still eternally youthful. Like, so Frankie's probably 19 or 20, really. I'd say I'd love to see when he was actually born, because I don't think he is 38 or 39. I think he's eternally youthful in everything he does, both on and off the field. He's a really fun guy to be around, and but also really serious when he has to be. So that's what you want in a group. You want these kind of leaders that encourage young lads to go and express themselves, that they'll be there to help them out in any way they can. They'll give them any advice, but they really want them to go and walk and run for themselves. They don't want to be holding them back in any way. So that's what we're they're really good guys to work with. But there's loads of them there. There's loads of leaders. Like Owen Curry is captain there this year. Had to go on goal, start the year, turned into a fine goalie. Probably his first day off field, but do this for the team. The guys been coming on, finishing games. They have to not be in the first 15, but they have to have the mindset to get us over the line when we need it. So everybody's finding their own thing that they can do. Like, down to, we have a really good backroom team there with lads doing analysis and all that work for us. So we're just doing the coaching, and then the guys looking after all the gear and water, and everybody's doing their job, and that's all we want them to do.
And just finally, Norman, you're obviously in the quarter-final now, as I mentioned from the outset, with Cunningham, Mike Cullen, saw Citylink.ie, and you mentioned the pressure's off for the quarter-final. But what is the aim now for this group?
The aim is just to win the next game, and that's not, I know it's a cliche, and I know everyone says it, but honest to God, Paul, we wouldn't be looking 1 second past the start of the next game. The only good thing that really has come out of this preliminary quarter-final being rushed is, when you're not in it, you realise Monday evening there, the headspace you had, that you wouldn't have had on other Monday evenings, because once we had our pre-championship build up for 4 or 5 weeks, everything was Barna. Then when we were finished with Barna, you were straight into, everything was Miltown. Then everything was Clonberne, and it was great Monday evening just to go out for a walk, cut the garden, and not know who you were playing. And I was kind of saying on Sunday evening, it's a pity we don't know who we're playing. That'd be a real bonus for the team that top the group. But probably for your own headspace, and to actually just relax and breathe for a week, you're nearly better off not knowing who you're playing, so you can actually come back more recharged again yourself for the next stage of the competition.
It is huge, Norman, to top your group and avoid this preliminary quarter-final, even when you see there's obviously 2 games Thursday, 2 games Saturday. It's a massive coup for topping your group to avoid this round.
Well, it just gives you a chance to recover. It doesn't. The other teams are going to be sharper with the extra games. There's no shadow of doubt about that. But they're also going to pick up niggles. The other teams are going to pick up niggles in training as well. But it's just, I know from talking to the other coaches, everybody was trying to top the group. Only 4 teams could. Everybody was trying to come second in if you couldn't come first, and nobody wants to come fourth. And you look at the teams that came fourth, like those 4 teams could easily win a quarter final. So there's no easy game in Galway Senior Championship. It's on the day. If it goes right for you, and you get a rub of the green, and you have the work done, as I always say. Sometimes luck finds you if you're prepared to be prepared for it. If you're not prepared for it, then it's not going to find you. So we know ourselves, whoever we get in the next game is going to be really tough. It's going to be another step up from the last 3 games, and that's the test the lads are looking forward to.
Along to the Maroon White Pod. We're here this evening to look ahead to the 4 preliminary quarterfinals coming up. 2 on Thursday evening and then 2 on Saturday. So the 2 on Thursday evening, both live on Galway GATV. Mullagh, Tuam Stars in Duggan Park at 7:45, and at the same time in Cunningham, St James's and Cunningham will play. And then the two other preliminary quarterfinals, Leamore and Dunmore McHale's at 3 o'clock, and then the final preliminary quarterfinal of the weekend, Annaghdown and Miltown, 4:45 in Tuam Stadium. I'm joined this evening by Johnny Ryan and Port Cunningham to look ahead to these games. Just before we get in detail into these lads, Johnny, it's a fairly good draw. I don't think it could have worked out much better than this.
Yeah, it's actually a great draw. Every match looks to be tight. Ulster Miltown, like it's 50-50. They're staying Leamore. Dunmore is going to be 50-50 as well. You could possibly say Tuam might be favourites against Montpellier as well. Possibly James against Clonberne, but any four teams can win. Any four matches, any team can win. In fairness, let's say if it was one of the really strong, if it was Tuam against a weaker side, you'd be saying, oh yeah, they'll definitely get through Tuam. But like Tuam could be gone by Thursday evening, which is crazy, and they would not be happy if they would be gone this early, a quality side like that. But each match, in fairness, is going to be tight, which is a great positive.
Yeah, Port, there is a lot of 50-50s in these four games.
Yeah, Johnny has touched on it there. To be fair, probably the only game that you kind of be looking at is with a bit of favouritism. With obviously weakened Montpellier Bannock team, but the rest of them are such 50-50 battles. I was really, really impressed with Ulster at the weekend against Claregoyle team, which I'd fancied, and Ulster went out with a game plan and they perfected it to perfection, to be honest. That's going to stand to them, and it's going to give them nothing but confidence. And Callanan as well, the fight they showed against Annaghdown, going down to 14 men after 10 seconds, second half, fight they showed, and probably Johnny Heaney missing the penalty was a key moment of the game, and that went in. It was a different game then with 5-6 minutes to go down the stretch.
Port, do you think there's a need for preliminary quarterfinals?
I don't really. I think the top two should go through, third should be fine, and then I look at it. I don't know why the extra game is there. It takes a bit of a bite out of maybe a last game, I suppose, or adds maybe a bit more bite, I suppose, to qualify. There's always someone left with something to play for, but I think it's just an extra game on players, and it's a bit tough considering some players in Intercounty have played a long enough season, and now they're playing another extra game with a lot of bodies. They play on Sunday, finish a game at, I think it was nearly 5 o'clock, and then you're asked them to regroup and go again on Thursday evening. It's just a lot of congested and nearly asking for injuries.
Yeah, Johnny, what do you think of it? Obviously, it's the same in intermediate where you have first going to a quarter, second and third going into prelim, fourth going into relegation, unfortunately. What do you think of the system? Do you think if it's third place, it should just be retain your status, or how do you see it?
I would say retain your status, yeah. They nearly have it, in fairness. The system at the moment is so good. I think 16 and senior in the groups, it's perfect. The whole lot. We know when we're playing. Each team know at the start of the year. Obviously this year we got to All-Ireland, so things were pushed back 2 weeks. But clubs knew that straight away. Anyway, I think it is nearly perfect. Except, yeah, probably I would have your top two teams. You're into your last 8, open draw, or else first against second in each, definitely. And then it's straight on through. Whereas this, it's a bit messy now at the moment, obviously because it's been pushed back. But I know it drags out. It nearly drags out for, let's say, teams that came third there. You're looking at a lot of these teams second and third here. Miltown, Dunmore, Callanan had 1 or 2 wins, let's say, and they were nearly struggling along. They'd nearly be happy enough year over. Let's say, I know now it's great. Oh yeah, we're third. We have a chance to get to a quarter final now. But if you only win one match, you know that you're coming third more than likely, and you're not getting through to the quarter final. I think every team nearly would accept that. Likewise, if you come bottom, if you lose 2 matches at least, even the third, that's it, straight into relegation. There's no bother there. But I'd have just the top 2 teams, and it works out so well that way. Obviously, they might want another few matches, the county board, for obvious reasons. Maybe just squeeze in there. And obviously, they're saying game time and all that, but it seems to be the most reason why, to get as many championship matches as possible, because that's where the money is, in fairness. And look, lads like playing championship too, but I'd have it top 2 straight through, and that'd be it.
In saying that too, Pork, it's a chance for these 8 clubs that are involved between Thursday and Saturday here to make a push and get their seasons back on track.
Yeah, it definitely is. Look, it's a great opportunity, and as like Johnny's touching it there, like a lot of teams, like if they've won one game and they've lost two, they're saying, "Do you know what, that's the year done. We finished third, regroup, maybe start again." But like a lot of them can probably come down to the training there, maybe on Tuesday night, and just go, right, if you chance of making a quarter final here, let's just go hell for leather, go out tonight, give what we can. Then look at it, it's 60 minutes of football, like, and you're in a quarter final, and then it obviously becomes like a territory that's, look at its pressures on every team, and obviously favourites are favourites, but like sometimes you always see an upset in cup or in championship football. You always see some sort of an upset. So yeah, like it's a great opportunity for teams the likes of probably Clonberne, who probably at the start of the year would have been happy with retaining their status. Even the likes of Leamore are probably even the same. Dunmore, McHale's, like these are teams that are like they're building. Leamore have been thoroughly impressive. Like that result against Montpellier was massive, and like Dunmore have been very, very impressive last year in their first year back in senior, and then this year they've built on it. Like it's an opportunity for them. And look at, I do agree with, like Johnny said, I do agree that like the top two should be it. But look at, it's an extra game and another game for all the spectators to go and watch.
We're going to look at Montpellier Mullagh, Tuam Stars, Duggan Park, Thursday, 7:45. There is an appeal going on at the minute for John Daly's red card. I don't know. Do we have an update from our Montpellier correspondents yet?
I don't know any Montpellier lads, but the word I've got is just saying that I might not know until tomorrow morning.
Okay, until tomorrow morning. So that's the update there. Johnny, obviously Montpellier Mullagh are very close to you from living in Kilkerran, obviously there. But just on John, like if he is to miss this, it's going to be really significant.
Oh, it is, of course. Like he's a real leader, like, in fairness, and he'd be the leader there at the moment. Like he drives everything. He'd be driving. He's a thick man. Like he'd be in the training. He'd be driving it. And if someone is not performing or if they're messing about, like trying to just get through a session, no, standards would be raised. And then come the day of the match, like it's him that's getting on the ball. It's him that's making the forward runs, forward kick passes. He creates so much for teams when he's playing. Like, so it's going to be a massive one if he is missing. I was only saying to you beforehand, I'd be saying that the appeal wouldn't be successful. Just going on, I was chatting to a couple of lads that were at the match, and that possibly there was striking, and it's going to be hard to get video evidence to say contrary. It depends on the referee's report and all that, and it's so tight. Like Richie McNicholas, it was like, if whatever, 4 or 5 days ago, to get all that in, and from Montpellier to get a right appeal in, I couldn't see it being overturned now. I know the linesman was writing the case there as well, Christopher Ryan, and like all that, it's going to be very hard for the appeal to be overturned. So I'm going to say he's going to be out, and that is not going to be a positive for Montpellier at all.
Who would you fit in at 6 there? Because it's obviously like they do have to move the team around a lot if John's out.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see them play now since the start of the year. Where's Billy Mannion playing for them at the moment?
Billy Mannion's full back, and they've had James Foley out in the wing. Do they move James into 6?
Yeah.
Obviously, Colin Ryan's missed a couple of games now to injury as well.
Yeah, I know he's struggling with injury, but he would be a great lad to have there. Now, yeah, Billy will probably be on Brian Mannion, possibly. James Foley, in fairness, is solid. Like, he is a good ball player too. So it just depends. Will he be able to? It's more so not the centre back role, but it's more so the playmaker role of getting on as much ball as possible. In fairness, James will be good. He's definitely be an option there. But it's hard to fill a void like John Daly. I know he wasn't starting for Galway, but look at, like, we all know he's a top class footballer, and in the space of 4 days, the team will be built around him. How do you get someone to slip into that role? It's going to be hard. Possibly James Foley, in fairness, is a good ball player, so he might be an option there. Yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult. Padraic, like, it's nearly when it's come to Montpellier this year, it's just about who they haven't had, obviously, even with the players that went to Australia. Michael and Patrick still out with long-term injuries. Brian Noon from under-20s, he did his cruciate out long-term as well. To add John to this list, it makes things more difficult. But could it galvanise them in one way too?
Yeah, it sure could. Like we all we all know the fight that Montpellier actually do have, like every single one of them. They do have obviously some fantastic footballers, and fantastic footballers still missing. Like you do have Barry McHugh, who's in top form, to be fair to him, and James Foley's playing some great stuff, and so is Billy Mannion. Like so, these are key players for that Montpellier team. But like my other side note to it all then is the man in charge of Tuam knows this Montpellier team inside out. Like it's Dave Donnan. He knows this Montpellier team. He's probably been the core of this Montpellier team at the very start. He's probably created nearly the monster they were back in probably what 2016, 17 when they started out and really pushed in it. Like so, yeah. Look, it's a massive, massive blow, and as Johnny says, like it's four days of a turnaround to find someone that literally makes the whole team tick. I suppose for Montpellier, and has always made the whole team tick. But look, it's a hand up, and it's an opportunity for someone in the Montpellier to step in and try and fill a void.
Do you think they'll take any risks on those long-term injuries?
I'd be surprised in terms of like there is probably two men that haven't had too much football all year, and unless they've chartered a flight home for home Finnerty for out of Australia, I don't see they would. I like look at it for them. They knew at the start of the year with the amount of bodies they lost that it was about probably developing some players and getting them in, and then if they got someone in a prelim quarter final that they've been happy enough with, that probably just met probably one of the top teams in the prelims, and we're just unlucky in that state. It's
safe to say, Johnny, too, their opponents, Montpellier, Tuam Stars, like their performance at the weekend against Clonberne, it was really impressive. When they probably look back on it and they took their chances, they nearly could have won the game.
Yeah, Clonberne started off so well. The fluid movement, obviously, they created the goal chances. Tuam mightn't be happy, but like Clonberne were excellently played, excellently worked, like, and Tony Gill flying around the place there. But Tuam, in fairness to them, like they didn't give up. They do have great belief in themselves. Like that is one thing they have, and they brought it back right into make a right match of it. It's just a pity that the start the Clonberne they knew how to control sort of the game, but in fairness, Tuam did really press on, and that will give them massive momentum coming into Thursday. Definitely also the David Donlan factor, as Podge said, is massive. Like, they don't have to do any analysis, look back at any videos or anything Monday, come up for anything Tuesday. They don't have to have meetings. He'll have all that Tuesday evening, or they'll probably meet again tonight. Say just basics, Montpellier, bang. He knows everything about them. So hard for Val, the other side, to think about Tuam. You're right, Padraic. Hair is looking good there. Yeah, it's so hard for Montpellier, like compared to Tuam. David Donlan factor is a big thing, and supposedly, like, since the start of the year, a couple of Tuam lads, they love him. Like, it's so organised and so professional, and that's what Tuam want. They're hungry for that professionalism, and it seems to be definitely working for them this year.
Is it fair to say here, Padraic, if Tuam don't take their eye off the ball tomorrow night, they win the game?
Yeah, like it probably is, in terms of, like, we know what the amount of players that are missing from Montpellier, but there is that never say die attitude, to be fair, in Montpellier. Like, so, and it's a team that's been through probably the last couple of years. Like, they still have like the likes of Leo Donlan and Billy Mannion has been through, James Foley, Barry McHugh. They still have experienced players, like Colin Murray's back in the fold. And then Collie Ryan, if he's anyway, sort of, like, you have players that have been through it and through it all. So, but like the big thing is for me is Dave Donnan is involved with Tuam, and it's just such like the know-how. He knows everything inside out of that Montpellier team. So for me, he'll be the difference in the two teams. He'll be able to tell the likes of Cormac Coulter, Brian Mannion, here's the weakness on one of these defenders, and go at them, like, so that's the big turning point for me, I think.
Have Tuam found their perfect six this year? Like, when you even look at the forward line, maybe compared to previous years, because in the past they might have struggled for scores, but even the last day, like in their half forward line, you had Conor Radigan, Brian Mannion, Jamie Murphy, Ben O'Connell, Luke Davin, and Cormac McWalter, like it's they have that strength up top now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a great. Sorry, Pod, go on.
no, go on. Go on, sorry.
Jim, in fairness, it was always you play Jamie Murphy and the pressure on him, and marking Jamie, man mark him, puts a lad in front of him. You'll keep tuned to 10 or 12 points. But now, definitely Brian Mannion, he's going well, like moving well, looks fit, looks hungry for the ball. He is every time there's an attack, he looks really wanting to get on it, and even seen him going out, just taking the ball off Gary O'Donnell, hand pass to me. He wanted it bang over the bar. Luke Devon, he was playing junior for them last year, but he's very good. In fairness, quick, lively, he can score. Like, he's going to get you a point or two a game. Conor Rattigan, he's so solid. He's playing there for a long time with them now, getting a couple of scores. And then you have Jamie, who will be sneaking in with his goal or his 1-1. So overall, it does look good for Tuam that way compared to years ago, where they would have said, cut out Jamie Murphy. They do have options there, which is good for them.
It's the younger fellas too, even Padraic. Dara Heenan's added to it, even Rory Igo and Max O'Connell coming in the last day too.
Yeah, they have. They've slowly but surely introduced the one or two players that probably been playing underage with Galway and stuff, and they've integrated them into the team very well. And look at they've probably shown like the real one for me was the coup of Dave Donlan. Like, a lot of teams go from, and a lot of teams try to get him, but getting him into him was probably something they needed. And as Johnny said there, like then the firepower they have up front, like they've Ben O'Connell, Brian Mannion, Cormac Walter, like even Conor Rattigan, he's been midfield for them, wing forward, and he works like no tomorrow. Like, that man dies with his jersey on the pitch. Like, so I really do fancy them tomorrow evening, but look, I won't write out my value at the end of the day. Like,
what have you made of Jack Gergan signing for Tuam?
Yeah, look, it's a big one. It's a big one to come into the fold. So it'll be interesting to see when he decks out in the jersey.
Yeah, I know he's injured at the minute, and it's expected, I think, if they get to a semi-final, that he might be back for that. But he's sidelined through injury at the moment. Jacoby, brother, obviously, Rory Gergan, and previously played for Armagh, so it's a big one to get there. Just before predictions for this game, just on Montpellier, there are two key forwards this year, Jonathan, Leo Donlan, obviously, and Barry McHugh. Who from Tuam do you see picking them up on Thursday?
With the Tuam team, well, I definitely see Rory O'Connor going on Barry McHugh, main man marker. Like, Rory, in fairness, is sticky. Like, he'll stay with him all day, but Barry he's performing very well, like, as well as ever. Like, the last 2 years, he's moving well. I'd say Rory O'Connor on Barry, Leo then more of a runner, engine on him the whole time. Gary O'Donnell possibly, but it just depends where he is, and he'd probably be dropping back anyway. He'll nearly be getting a free roll, and then as he comes up towards 65, 45 yard line, Leo will have to be picked up, because he does do sort of piercing runs in through the middle, so he'll have to be watched. He's progressed on so well in his career, like, and he is an athlete now, like, in fairness to him, and Tuam will need to watch him. I'd say Gary O'Donnell or someone like that. They just need to tag him once he comes in near the 45. That's what will be happening.
It's quite simply then, lads, just McGlinchey versus Matthew Barrett.
Go on, Johnny, you can finish that one off.
He's some player, McGlinchey, isn't he? In fairness to him, he's coming, like. So look at it. That's probably, who's midfield with him there?
Paul Collins was the last day, but he got taken off half time for Conor Heenan. So
you wouldn't know what will happen there now. They might start Paul again or that, but I'd say they might start Paul and put him on Matthew Barrett and just say, look, it's break everything. And Matthew was a great fielder, but he mightn't give you as much from play, so that would be nearly Paul Collins for the first half or 45 minutes anyway, sort of nullifying Matthew Barrett. They might be thinking that way.
It's probably then for Montpellier Pork. You imagine Billy Mannion's probably going to be given the task of Jamie Murphy and then James Foley on Brian Mannion.
Yeah, I think Billy Mannion will go on Brian Mannion, I'd say, to be honest. Say James Foley might follow the likes of Jamie Murphy or
I do
like
Colin Murray
Colin
there
Murray.
too. Yeah.
Colin Murray. Colin Murray might go. Cormac McWalter is inside. Like there's so many matchups there. But there's a few tough ones there. To be fair, I'd probably say I do think Billy will pick up Brian Mannion maybe, or else Colin Murray will pick up Brian Mannion.
So we're gonna do our predictions for this one. Johnny, you were quite quick to remind me when I got the Kilkerran prediction wrong in round 2. So we'll let you start it off, of course. But how do you see this one going, and who do you see winning?
Yeah, it's not often we win, so I was very happy that that evening. Nice win against Branagh, which was on cloud 9. But anyway, long forgotten now. How do I see this one going? I just think that Tuam, with their professionalism and their backroom team, will guide them over the line along with their shooting forwards. I'd see Montbellew, in fairness, they will dog it out. Like they've been there and done that. They won't be they'll be saying, look at Tuam Stars, who do they think they are? You know, they haven't won that in the last while. We're county champion, medals in the back pockets. But I do think Tuam will have the athleticism and the professionalism, as I say, to win. It's going to be tight, but I'd say Tuam by 2 points.
Yeah, I think Tuam will have too much from Montbellew too. Just obviously more player availability, probably showing more form. Expect Tuam to win by 6 points tomorrow night. How would you see it, Pork?
I wouldn't say 6 now, but I'll go Tuam by 3. To be fair, I just think that look at the injuries and the big red cards. John Daly's a massive loss to Montbellew.
The other game at the same time, James and Clannan tomorrow night, 7:45 in Clonberne. This one really, Pork, is it a toss of a coin?
Yeah, it is for me. I've seen both teams play this year, and I've been really impressed with St. James's. Like the likes of Johnny Dewan and Paul Conroy have been there for years. Obviously, but the introduction of the two O'Neills, I think, is unbelievable. And Jack Nolan, I think it is as well. He's been a real driving force coming out from the middle third from him. He's been brilliant, and I was really, really impressed with him. And then on the other side of it, I was really impressed with Clannan Sunday in the second half. The fight they showed, and to introduce Keane Folan, I think near the end of the first half, and he was absolutely superb. All the ball went into him and it stuck, and he was creating scores, and he was getting Johnny Heaney on the loop around him, and there was so much score, so much positive from that. And look, they'll have a lot of confidence as well. Probably saying if they didn't go down to 14 men so early in the second half, and they could have maybe rattled Annaghdown, but and the penalty as well. So look at like I've been impressed. Dara Walsh in the middle for Clonberne was very good the last day, and Ryan Roach as well. He came out. He was starting in from forward, and then he came out around the middle, maybe went centre forward as well. And I thought he was very, very impressive the last day.
Just on that, with these two sides, Johnny, they have mixed the good and the bad throughout the group stages. There's periods where they've been on top, but then there has been periods where they maybe went out of games or haven't closed out games either.
Yeah, look, that's the difference between the top 4 sides that are through there. Well, definitely 3 or 4 of them anyway, and then sort of the middle tier sides that would be. It wouldn't be as consistent. Like it is, and it is. This one's going to be 50-50. Like the Jameses, they're kind of have leveled off over the last few years. Like they were coming good for a while there, and then there's nothing. They were kind of getting through group stages and that. But I do think the two O'Neills are a big plus for them. And obviously Paulie, like he's still moving as well as ever. Like so that'll be a massive help for them. Killannon have some serious movers though. Like when they get going, yeah, they can sort of drop out of games too. And it's like you'd be watching. Let's say you'd be at a couple of matches and you'd be watching what's the score, and you're like, Killannon, they might score for 20-25 minutes. All of a sudden, it's like it's like a lot of teams, really more, definitely all teams in intermediate, Anna, but the top teams in the curve Finns, Michael, that sort of tip along like that, but other teams wouldn't. It's going to be a tight game. I don't really know how to call this one, to be honest.
Just with James, it's been interesting the way they've set up this year. It definitely seems like this year it's a more controlled element. Maybe they haven't played with an outlet maybe inside. Do you think maybe it's time for them to throw one of the O'Neills in the edge of the square?
I like to look at that. It's a bit of a. I don't know how you're going to change it inside 4 days. Like they probably had the system at the start of the year and decided, look, we're going with this. And like, to be fair, I know I'd say they've only scored probably bare 30 points, I'd say, in the championship this year. So like but they've still defensively they've been the meanest. I think I seen a stat there on Twitter. I think it was they've been the meanest defense in that group stage of the 3 games. Like they have played someone like the guts of Mike Mullins and Dunmore, like who are goal getters and high scoring teams. Like so, like look at St. James obviously have a two-sided system and say, look, we're going to target a certain amount of scores and we will stop you from scoring a certain amount. So that's obviously something they've been working on, and look at it, it's got them to where they are now. And I think it's something they'll probably look to do with Clonberne as well and nullify Clonberne look like a team that get goals and are able to get goals. So if they can stop Clonberne getting goals, they'll probably say we'll kick more points than them maybe.
Yeah, overall it's been 122 is what James's have scored across their 3 games in the championship. But I suppose being his defense, like there is a point there too. Like obviously it was 9 the last day against Mike Cullen, and then that game against Dunmore, therefore 1-7 then against Mullagh Abbey, and it was quite low too against Dunmore 1-5. So
1-5.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it has been pretty low there.
Yeah, like they'll just look to see can they stop conceding the goal. If they concede the goal, they look at likes of Mike Cullen with all the firepower they have. They've only kicked 9 points in them. I know conditions weren't great, obviously, on Saturday evening, but you still look Dunmore as well, only put 5 points on them, and then you've Mullagh put 7. Like, so it's not high scoring.
Yeah. It's 221 they've conceded, and they scored 122. So there's not much between it.
Yeah, it's just a mean factor they probably brought in and decided to go with this year.
On that too for Clonberne and Johnny, the fitness here of Patrick Sweeney is huge. Like no one seems to know he's such an important player for Clonberne, but similar to John Daly in the turnaround, 4 or 5 days he didn't play with an injury. It's hard to see how he will be fit for this.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of injury. Do you know what
hamstring?
Sort of
hamstring, yeah, it was well strapped as well the last day.
Dreaded hammer. He might have been thinking they weren't through, but there was a good chance of them getting through anyway, and they'd have a game coming possibly, but there's not going to be much improvement in a hamstring in 4 days, definitely. So he's not going to be starting anyway, I'd say, if he didn't play a part the last day today.
No, he didn't play at all. He was on the line.
Play at all. So he definitely won't be starting, and with a hamstring injury, you come on for 10 or 15 minutes, you're not going to have that much of a positive influence in the match. You're going to be thinking about your hamstring more. So that's unfortunately that's the way it is.
And on that, Keane Folan, then Padraic, you talked about his impact. You imagine they're just going to plant him on the edge of the square, considering the impact he had. He has to be straight into the team. Yeah,
I'd be surprised he's not in the starting team. The only thing that might come into factors, I know they were saying he's a dual star, so that'll be a big factor in it. Like, if he's playing hurling maybe this weekend, but if he's not, I'd be very surprised if he's not in the starting team. He was such a presence inside. Like, the ball was going into him, but sometimes there was 2 or 3 bodies around him. He was catching it clean, offloading it at the right times. And he scored a cracking goal then as well. Like, so he was, he was very impressive for me.
Johnny, we've talked there about James's setup and the way they played. There's obviously been control with it, but do you think they'll be drawing on the positives? Ultimately, only lost to Mike Cullen 9-6 last weekend.
Oh yeah, they're going to be saying, look, at our defensive setup is good. One of the best teams in the county. We only conceded 9 points. they don't. They'll tuck in again, I'm sure, and no goals as Pod said there is vital. And then you're going to have they'll be looking to the two O'Neills and Paul to kick their scores to hopefully win like 11-9 again or something like that. They'll be looking for that 9 or 10 points to concede, and if you just concede that, like odds on you're going to win the match, which is that's what they'll be looking for. You know, it's like everything is good here, so we stay nice and tight. Johnny Duane communicating the whole time, you know, keeping a leader right there, right in centre back, right tucking in is massive, you know, and he's going to be talking to everyone the whole time. So I could see them not conceding a goal the next day again.
It does feel like Clonberne are nearly going to do similar this Thursday, Pork, that maybe this won't be the best game of the weekend, but there's going to be a bit of caginess here and both sides tucking in because they do play similar in one way.
Yeah, they do. To be fair, they try to nullify obviously the threat of Damien Comer on Sunday and like obviously the injury to him. And then, but like they tried to just nullify it and clog the congested middle as much as they could, and then break with runners as quick as they could. They did have like the likes of that Ryan Roach and Johnny Heaney were always picking up the ball when it was turned over. It was always find one of them two or Darragh Walsh, and it was just let them drive out and deliver ball inside. But yeah, look, it'll be a very cagey game, to be honest. I think it's a lot of teams, the two of them will be sussing each other out, seeing will there be any sort of changes in the systems they've played. But yeah, it's going to go right down to the wire, I think, this one.
How will Killannon match up, Porrick, against the two O'Neills and Paul Conroy?
Yeah, like you're probably looking at is Johnny Heaney going to pick up someone? Like, is he going to go back and maybe try follow Paul as much as he can, or maybe follow one of the O'Neills? But like one of the O'Neills, like Sam O'Neill has an awful tendency to even go in deeper when someone comes on to him. So like it's a tough one. There's a lot of Carl Sweeney will pick he'll probably pick one of the O'Neills, I'd imagine. Ryan Melia, the wing back, I was impressed with him the last day. He'll probably pick the other O'Neill, I'd say. And then it's looking like Paul maybe might take, or else maybe Johnny Heaney will go on Johnny Duane. Like look, there's so much matchups there. It's hard to see which what you go where.
With Killannon too, there, Johnny, the interesting thing is going to be what will they do with Johnny Heaney, and then Killannon do have options to put a target man inside a Ryan Roach or a Keane Folan, and the interesting thing there is what will James's do there?
Because they'll stick to their own system. That's what they'll be saying. They'll keep it nice and tight. I don't just Padraic knows a few of the Clannan lads there. I'm just looking through their team. I don't know that many of them now, so on about the matchups, I wouldn't know who would pick up their O'Neills in that. But this Keane Folan, in fairness, seems to have been flying it. So obviously they'll be starting him in there. But he mightn't get as much joy the next day, as much open football. I'd say now after that, if Patrick Sweeney was, anyways, I can't see him starting or anything like that. But it'll be more so Johnny Heaney getting on the ball, running through that packed defence sort of, and trying to work scores. That seems to be the main option for them anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of 19s in this Killannon team from last year. If you look at even Ryan Roach, Darragh Walsh, Kent O'Connor, Luke Kerr, I think they have 5 lads starting from that 19s team the last day against Annaghdown. So it's a fair amount when you consider they're only coming 18 now. To be
very
playing.
Good, yeah. That's in fairness, that it'll only help them. So these tight matches, like, so they'll improve. Yeah, I don't know that many of them, but I will hopefully get to see them tomorrow, the next day anyway. Yeah.
So if we're to call this, Pork, I'll let you call this one first. How do you see it going?
I don't know, to be honest. Like I probably, if I had to pick one, I'm going to go to St. James's. Simply, I just think Paul Conroy, the two O'Neills, and Johnny Duane orchestrating is big, and then you've Jack Folan coming out from attack. Yeah, I just think maybe probably the benefit of Paul Conroy and his O'Neills kicking probably scores and the mean defence they have. I just think as well, Patrick Sweeney's a massive loss for Killannon. Like, he is a massive, massive loss, and then they obviously lost Ronan Calder as well early in the second half, the last day. So
I don't think they're going to be appealing that one anyways.
Yeah, they probably won't be appealing that one, all right. But Yeah, I just go with James. I'm going to go by the bare minimum. James is by one for me.
How do you see it, Johnny?
Yeah, KJ and tight and not many goals. I'm going to go a draw, and after extra time, the draw is good enough. I think that.
He's only trying to keep everyone sweet now, Paul. Don't mind.
Yeah, well, so we're going to have to get you a margin there now because this can go extra time penalties. So there's no more calls for the draw now.
I go James's Conroy to win a free, nice handy free, and for them to win by one in extra time. Now you can't get much more of a prediction than that. Now.
Who's the ref tomorrow? Genie, don't let him hear that.
I'll look it up here. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for Clonberne by one, to squeeze through that one and get over the line, but there'll be nothing in that one again. If we're to look at the third preliminary quarter final, it's the Vanna Leamore versus Dunmore McHale's, Tuam Stadium, 3:00. Bit of added intrigue to this, obviously. They met in the intermediate county final a few years ago where Leamore pit Dunmore that day. So it does make things a bit interesting for this one, Johnny.
Yeah, this is going to be a right cracker of a match, I'd say. Leamore have been very impressive, in fairness to them. They have a big panel there, and they have some serious performers so far this year. Just looking at their team here, and yes, they played very well against Carlstrand, easily enough. Montpellier, obviously, the goal near the end, but like they didn't give up and they battled hard. I could see Dunmore. Obviously, Dunmore, I know them well. They are fit, organised team now. Gary Delaney is still there with them, and they've some quality players. They haven't really pushed on from the first year that they went up, but they're still good enough to be well up there in senior. They're never going to be in the next few years. I know they're not going to be fighting relegation. And if they were down there, they'd win easily enough. I can see this one being a right crack of a match. Yeah.
With this board, with the both of these teams, for people who are even thinking about going to this game, there is something here with the two of these teams that some of the, I suppose, youngest and up and coming footballers in Galway that people should be getting excited about. There's a lot of young players in Leamore and Dunmore that have stood out already in the championship.
Oh yeah, there definitely is. There's been some I haven't seen Leamore now play live, but I've seen Dunmore, and I was thoroughly impressed with the McGrath man in the middle of the field. I think it's Shane, is it? Yeah. Shane McGrath. He was absolutely superb that day against St. James's. He was the driving force. His goal was a piece of beauty, so it was as well in Tuam Stadium. It was unreal, and it was really impressive that day. And then you had the likes of Colin Costello as well, and Padraic Costello, two great inside forwards, kicked some brilliant scores in the second half. Yeah, look at it. It's a humdinger of a battle. Like I'm hearing great reports from Leamore, and they had a cracking result themselves last weekend. So they'll be using with confidence, and so will Dunmore. So look at it, and as I said, from the 2021 intermediate final, Dunmore will be looking probably to get one back on Leamore for that year, because probably Dunmore were going in as heavy favourites that year.
The only thing here for about Leamore, obviously we talked about John Daly's red card, Darren Shoga, and obviously Evan O'Farrell, they got straight reds. And they'll obviously hope, I imagine Leamore are going to try and appeal that and get those two overturned, but there's no guarantee that they will. And we've talked about the short turnaround, that it's very hard to get these two players on the pitch. They've already lost Matthews Barrett through injury. Sean Andy O'Kelly hasn't played this year through injury. It's going further into the reserves if those two are missing again.
Yeah, it sure is, and that's a good few players there to miss, and some big players that have been doing well, developing as they're getting grown into adults. They're big players that have probably missing for Leamore. So look at it, gives Dunmore an opportunity, but it obviously does give other players for Leamore, but probably not to the ability of the boys that have just been named there.
Yeah, no, the only thing is Miles McDonagh, he missed the game through injury. He's been impressive too throughout the club championship. I think they're expecting him to be back this weekend too. But you mentioned, Johnny, you've been impressed with Dunmore. obviously their first two games they came up short, just short against Mike Cullen, and the second day just short against James's. But big for this Dunmore team to get over a battle like that against Mullagh Abbey at the weekend.
Yeah, look, it's going to be in their heads. How the close calls, yeah, it was Mike Cullen wanted, but they were up like, was it 10 points or something like that, and that was a signal for them. That was a real blow, but still, it's easy enough in a team meeting during the week to turn that around and say, look, we were beating these lads by 10 points or whatever. But, it's easy enough to turn it into positive and to show that they can actually play football. They have great Shane McGrath there. He's so good at carrying the ball. He can just go from, let's say, if there's a blanket defence there or whatever, he can go from outside, get an easy hand pass. Next thing, 2 or 3 solos, he can see his path right through to the goal. Like, he scored so many goals over the last couple of years, in fairness to him. And then they top up the 2 Costellos, Jake Slattery, Brandon Kerr. They can all take scores. In fairness to them, like, they have Connor Mitch in midfield, if he's still starting there. Yeah, I know Danny Ford at the back then, and they're tight enough at the back. They've just never really drove on, and they've no main man sort of up front that will definitely win the match for you. Let's say if it's coming down the stretch, that's what I'd say the biggest sort of downfall for them. Leamore,
Is it just Dunmore's setup which makes them so difficult to break down?
I'd say it's their organisation. Yeah, it's not really the setup, but they all know what they're about. I'd say Gary Delaney is bringing that Curfin touch there. In fairness, he's very good, and they all know their kickouts, they know the opposition, they know what they're doing straight away. By a team where it's like a wide ball and next thing they're all talking, or they all know where they're running, they know where to go, and it's not sort of headless. So they are organised like that. They once again, yeah, just don't have that main man or two. I'm also conscious that the last time, I don't know, when I was on it, I said Kilconnelly would beat Dunmore in the and I heard they were singing songs abusing me down in Dunmore that night and the night after the podcast. So I'm not going to say too much bad about them. No, they're too much wrong this time. But,
they're dead right, Paul. Though, don't worry about.
A few of the boys sent me Snapchats. I actually look at, yeah. But no, in fairness, just going over to Leamore, I think I know they're missing so many and they had injuries and all that, but they have some squad like. Your man Colin McDonough at the back, that his name, just getting him here now.
Yeah, he's one waiting who's like on the mind, even when you're thinking like he was captain to go under 20 2 years ago, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
like he's definitely waiting to get a call in.
He marked me, I marked him. I don't know what way you want to put it, but in the league at the start of last year, I think it was, and I was very impressed with him. Started this year, very impressed with him. He's not that big or anything, but he is a right tiger now. Yeah, he's like another Johnny McGrath waiting. In fairness to him, you have 1 or 2 more in the back there. Iarla Kern, he'll just be dropping back in, sitting back, and when Leamore turn over the ball, it seems like Iarla Kern and 1 or 2 more are just transitioning, gone up the pitch, and they have pace. There's a bit about them, in fairness to them, and I'm delighted to see a team like that. That you would always say, oh, they might be in relegation and that, but like if they win this match, and I know they'll be thinking, try and get over Dunmore and then try and get an Annaghdown or something around Jamie Comer. Next thing, they're in the county semi-final.
Don't be distracted Annaghdown now, Johnny. Come on.
But that's literally the way they're going to be looking like, and that's the way. There's 8 teams here. That's the way 8 of them are looking now at this stage. To be, and even look at that's just the way it is now. I'm not saying
Johnny Ryan back on this again.
I'm not saying.
I thought he'd be talking us up now because he's kind of half Annaghdown at this stage, but I guess not.
No, I got her moved over to Kilkern, so she's all Kilkern now. But no, look, I'm down in Annaghdown's expectations, so they can thank me later on. But we'll see who they get in the draw now. See what happens.
Just on poor Johnny's kind of argument there about Dunmore, and it's a good point that their scores have been spread out, but when you come to Leamore, like there's 3 or 4 forwards here who can take their scores, even particularly when you look at Warren Choga, Oisin McDonagh, Fionn McDonagh, they have forwards that can score regardless of who they're playing.
Yeah, like it's like at the end of the day, it's the score. The whoever scores more wins the game, and that's key. Like Warren Shorey is he's a great example. He's a man who will kick. If he's having a bad day, he's kicked 5 6 points. You know, like he always nails his frees. He's good at them, and like to whereas you go on the other side and you go and look at Dunmore, like the likes of Portcastle and Cullen Costa are still young, but they just don't have that experience head like in their forward line to probably coming down the stretch to be a reliable man you bring the ball to and kick a score, I suppose.
Lettermore have an advantage.
Slight advantage, yeah, but like I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Shane McGrath in the middle and Jake Slattery and the two Costellos. Like, but like they'll have no fear, I do believe, against Lettermore, and they will fancy themselves just as much as Lettermore will fancy themselves against Dunmore.
Johnny, you mentioned Lettermore's set up defensively. Obviously, two key man markers there are going to be Colin McDonough and Irla Curran. Who do you see Lettermore designating to them in the Dunmore forward line?
Who they pick up for Dunmore, is it?
Yeah.
Well, they'll be definitely looking at Shane. In fairness, Shane McGrath, they'll nearly be saying, right, when he gets on the ball, you just pick him straight away, let him hand pass it off or whatever. Don't let him get it in the first place.
Yeah, that's even Casey O'Kelly in midfield. Like, he's been very impressive. He could be someone that they just say, just dog him for the hour.
That's who I was nearly going to say, and he is solid. Like, he's a Lettermore through and through. Like, and Shane won't really like that. There's a few Dunmore lads there. In fairness, they're tidy footballers, but Lettermore, when they get really stuck in, they get stuck in, like, you know, and they don't think anything is a free, and they don't think anything off the ball is normal. We've seen it the last year, like, you know, and that's how John nearly got sent off. Like, Lettermore are in your face. Definitely Shane McGrath I'd say Casey will be picking him up and tight. After that, they'll be just going, call him inside. Is Jamie Cohen starting, or who starts inside for Dunmore? Oh, Costello, I'd say.
Yeah, Jamie Cohen will start at 11, and then you'll obviously have the two Costellos and Jake Slattery inside then.
Yeah, I'd say Padraic. I'd say Colin McDonough. But look, they can be fluid enough there, and it's easy enough to see if there is anyone for Dunmore on their A game, and do a bit of switching, swapping straight away in the first 10 minutes. But I'd say that's definitely the Casey and Shane McGrath. You called it right there.
Yeah, even Dunmore defensively, it probably already feels that Danny Ford is going to make the move out to 6 onto Warren Choga, just as Warren is so central to this team.
Yeah, definitely. Danny Ford will, or the Lyons fella, what's his
Colin Lyons.
Colin Lyons, he's another fella as well. He'd be they'll probably look at maybe see can they nullify Warren Shorey and probably draw him back the field as much as possible. Like, Colin Lyons is a great driver out the field or up the field further more. So maybe look at something like that as well. Even try to nullify him, get him out of some of the attacks. If they can nullify the amount of times he gets on the ball, like, it's a positive for Dunmore.
Johnny, how do you see this one going?
I see good scores, good open game, pacey match. They're going to have nice weather more than likely, and I think Lettermore with their tails up are going to win by 4.
4. And Pork, how do you see it?
I'm going to say Dunmore by 2.
I'm going to go there, Lettermore by 1. So we'll just move on then to the final game of the weekend in the preliminary quarterfinal, Uachtar Miltown. Pork, if Uachtar are going to get to a quarterfinal, they're going to have did it the hard way.
Yeah, 100%. But saying that, it was the most impressive I've been of a football team in 60 minutes of football than I was last Sunday in Pearse Stadium. I thought they were absolutely superb. Went out with a game plan and they executed it to perfection. To be fair to Alan Murphy and his management team, yeah, they put some serious amount of study into the Claregoy team, obviously, and seen a loophole in it, like in terms of delivering high ball in top of that full back line. It caused absolute mayhem for them. was unbelievable. It was a brilliant idea. Like every second and third ball, you see Matthew Tierney go in, or you see Inda Tierney go in and deliver a long ball in, and you just had their forwards break and clean off Matthew or Enda, and they were just the ball was being broke to the right areas, and it was a score all the time. Like it was really, really impressive, man. Um, Look at I was thoroughly impressed with them, but saying that then you'll have the likes of they'll have to change their whole tactic now. They'll be playing against a lot bigger men like from Miltown, the likes of Carl Blake there. He'll probably step back if they start delivering big ball in there. So yeah, look at it. This will be a humdinger of a game. And look at it, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Johnny. Obviously, here you have Uachtar the last day, like even the players outside of the county players that really stepped up. Your James Webbs's, Cathal Donoghue's, these players from the back when they turned it over, they went at pace. But this is Miltown will obviously then be disappointed with the Barna performance, but they'll still be delighted that they're still here and it's knockout football.
Oh yeah, Miltown come to plan as well, so they will like they'll be hard to beat as well. In fairness to them, like this is going to be intriguing because just on about it there, like what are Miltown going to do when Matthew Tierney and Inda Tierney go in? They don't have that tall men at the back. Just looking through their team there, will they put Cahill all the way back to full back? And that will be taken away from them because in fairness, Cahill Blake's playing very well, winning kickouts, winning frees. He's pinging ball in, moving it quick. He's been a revelation for them this year. They'll have to have some plan though because Matthew Tierney has some pair of hands in him. I've seen it years ago against us there when he was only 18 or 19. They put him in full forward. We weren't ready for him. And he'd 1-1 scored in about 2 minutes. They're an intermediate, and I'll never forget it. But they've been doing that tactic for a few years. But Miltown, always hard to beat them, in fairness. Now, they knew the last day, through and all that, but by the skin of their teeth, they'll find it hard. So they will, I'd say, the next day. But, backs against the wall, Miltown love it, in fairness to them. They're a great club like that.
There is another thing, Boy, to consider for Miltown as well. Clare Galway, it looked like at stages didn't know how to break down Uachtar at all. They were lateral, they were passive, they held onto the ball for long periods. This is the challenge when you face Uachtar. You just have to be prepared when you turn that ball over to go.
Yeah, that's definitely another side of it. It did look like Clare Galway actually ran out of ideas when Uachtar stopped them. But one thing I kind of noticed in Uachtar is they fouled early and then they slowed the game down. Like they had whoever created the foul, a second man would come in and nearly just break the line of the person trying to even deliver the ball quickly. Like he'd break or slow it down, and Austin O'Connell was bringing the ball forward, but Uachtar didn't care because all their bodies were just flowing back and getting set up for the long ball in or the delivery. And once they were set up like that, then they frustrated Clare Galway and turned them over and made them shoot from maybe outside the scoring zone, as we call it nowadays. Shots so. Look, they'll probably try to do the exact same to Miltown when they look at the likes of Mike Martin, Mark Hare, in the form Owen Mannion is in as well. And then you have Niall Costello and Liam Costello coming into it. So they'll probably try to do the exact same with the firepower of forwards Miltown have.
How do you see Miltown approaching this, Johnny?
They'll definitely come in a positive mindset of thinking that they can beat Uachtar first of all. Anyway, in fairness to them. Like that, they'll really look to get at Uachtar's defence. Like it's not going to be packed defence or anything like that. I'd say too much. You're looking at the two Costellos running with ball, getting it onto Mike, getting it onto Mark Hare. Fairness, they can take scores all day long. Cahill Blake, when you get a chance, ping it in. And Owen Mannion is flying it so Miltown will be saying, get the ball in as quick as we can. Costellos, get the two Costellos on, move it forward, get Mike and Mark here on the ball, getting your scores or else into Owen Mannion, who's going to be playing right deep inside, and he's a live wire. And if he gets going early, he can score. He can rack up a score and he will be hard to mark. So Miltown will move the ball fast and quick, and I can see really just pinging the ball in sometimes with Cahill Blake.
Will they send Curran off after Matthew Tierney?
And then the first thing Alan Murphy will do from the goal is saying, "Lovely, this is exactly what we planned." So Matthew Tierney, you go full forward, and Jack isn't the biggest, so that's what I'd be doing. And it's hard to know with Matthew and his. Kieran Blake started the last day as well, didn't they? For Miltown.
Yeah, he did. He was back.
Yeah, he's back. So, like, in fairness, he'd be well able to break a ball if he is full back there and that. But Jack will have to follow. If Matthew is out around the pitch, around 45 there, because Matthew can ping a score from anywhere, Jack will be definitely tagging him, I'd say, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it probably does feel like the obvious because Sam Pierre and Michael Walter, they're obviously wing backs, but they like to get forward really more than man mark. Maybe poor Godwin could be someone who might be sent after one of the Monaghan's, Keenan Ryan. Both Keenan and Ryan really impressive the last day too, Pork.
Yeah, they were very good in attack, like, and they were the ones kind of he brought the ball to, and they were the ones that delivered that high ball always into the inside borderline when it was the likes of Enda or Matthew went inside, like, and that was a big factor. And Keenan Ryan, like, I think Ryan was the one that scored the remarkable score in the second half, like outside the boot. It was a brilliant score. And like they're two like unknown probably players for up there, and obviously we all know that outside people just say, "Oh, Matthew Tierney from up there," but the Monans as well. They're two top quality forwards, and they will have to be marked as well.
There is a thing here too, Pork. It'd be interesting with both sides because Eddie O'Sullivan and Jack Curran both like to play these sitting roles.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and that's one thing Uachtarard were doing the last day. Like you'd always look back when Uachtarard were in attack. You'd look and Eddie was just standing in the sixth position, just standing, didn't barely walking around. And like it was actually funny to see. Like he just held his position all the time. And then opposite then for Jack Brand, they just like to hold their positions. And yeah, look, it's probably something both sets of teams will have recognised and probably will try to come up with some ideas to change that.
There is a thing when we talked there about the Uachtarard defensive system, but Johnny, like Miltown are going to fancy themselves too when they get it into attack, like particularly when you have an inside line of Mannion, Martin, and Hare.
Yeah, in fairness, like three strong scorers. Like Mike is going as well as I've seen him in a long time. Fair play to him. Like he's moving well, looking for the ball. He's laying it off. He's going again. He has the vision. Like Mark Hare's kick scores all day if you give him a chance. And Owen Mannion just needed that confidence, which he got after the first game, wasn't it, against who was it? The play? Come on.
Killannon, yeah.
Was it Killannon? Yeah. And he was flying it, like, yeah. In fairness, and that's all he needed. Like, so once again, Miltown will be looking to just transition quick and fast into the boys if they can. And just going back to what Padraic was saying there with the two Monaghan's, they are athletes. They are serious players. Like, you know, they were unlucky enough Galway this year. You know, they're in now for the last couple of years and that, but they're all there. So they're great heads, and they're two athletes. They're some men, in fairness. They're great two lads to have in a club team there, I tell you.
Yeah, no, really impressive the last day. The two of them as well. I'm going to call this one first, and I'm going to go Uachtarard to continue their momentum and win by 3 points on Saturday evening. How do you see it, Pork?
Yeah, I'm going to go with you as well. I think Uachtarard by 3 as well. I was really, really impressed last Saturday, last Sunday evening.
And Johnny, the final say on this one?
Uachtarard by 2. Just so if it's 1 or 2 point game, I guess closer than me.
Just before we do finish, lads, was obviously updating the power rankings last night for the club championship. No abuse yet, so it's been a successful week. But I obviously had Saltill at number 1, Kerfin at number 2 on this week's power rankings. Are Kerfin still favourites for you, Pork, to win Frank Fox this year, from what you've seen?
Yeah. Fair out, yeah. To be honest, I just think they're a bit that one step, maybe 2 steps ahead of everyone at the moment. they probably haven't even clicked into gear too full yet. Like, and they've just firepower everywhere across the field. Like I've seen their 2 goals. I only seen the highlights of the game and just seen their 2 goals the last day against Tuam, and they're just. You just look at some of the players that were involved in moves, and mother of God, there's some serious players there that I didn't even think of that are playing on the team. Like, so yeah, they're probably my number one. Yeah.
Johnny, are they still favourites for you, or can you see someone outside of Kerfin winning the county title this year?
They have to be still favourites. Yeah, look at them. Look at the panel they have, like, and the knowledge they have now at this stage of how to win matches and how to win championships. They're, in fairness to them, there's some club now at this stage. But like Salt Hill, I definitely have as number 2, like close second. And in the next, if it's not this year, I'd say next year, like with Finney in there, and they have a great backroom team. But I can see them winning a county title, like for Salt Hill, and that would be massive for them. But they have a top class outfit coming there. They have their scorers, they have their runners, they have the goalie, they have man markers. You know, I am in the next year or two, I'd be saying Salt Hill are going to win a county title.
If it's not Kerfin, do you think it'll be Salt Hill this year?
Yeah, just don't think my Cullen are clicking as well. And obviously, lovely Annaghdown there.
Man, Johnny, well recovered.
look at they're up there, and by all accounts, they are the younger players that are coming there played very well the last day for them. You know, when Demo was gone. But I see them winning the county title. I can't, but I definitely have Salt Hill second. My Cullen, they're kind of dropping away a tiny bit. It seems that the buzz has gone away from them, and I can't see them winning this year. No.
If it's not Kerfin, Port for you this year, who is it?
For me, yeah, it's probably Salt Hill. Like, they do have some serious players like involved. Like, yeah, their backroom team is massive, but they are probably I do see them close to Kerfin, but I just think Kerfin are that two levels ahead of everyone at the moment. That saying, like, Salt Hill are, like, obviously the firepower of Rob Finnerty coming back to the fold as well soon is massive to have. And then you see the football John Maher is playing at the moment. He's been absolutely outstanding. He was unbelievable all year for Galway, and he's been probably one of my top performers this year for Galway. And then he's carried that clearly into club football as well. Then you have the likes of Carl Sweeney, Daniel O'Flaherty. Like, these are driving forces from that middle third into the final third. So that, yeah, look, they're thereabouts. I just think that probably Kerfin probably have that firepower everywhere, whereas Salt Hill are probably short, maybe 1 or 2, but they will be there. Like, I do agree with Johnny, they probably will in the next 3 years probably have a county title, county medal in their back pocket.
Yeah, that's all. We do have time for on this evening's show. That's the 4 preliminary quarterfinals taking place, and the 4 winners will obviously advance to meet Annaghdown, Mike Cullen, Salt Hill, Knocknacarra, and Kerfin in the quarterfinals.